Welcome to Getting a Grip on Things. I got new shows. I am with Elijah Edwards, also known as the underpaid producer, and we are doing this together. Things are changing on Getting a Grip on Things, and here's how they're changing. We've got a whole new format of show. I actually have a brother and a professional that's going to be on with me, Elijah. And we're excited because I actually can bounce some of the crazy thoughts that I have instead of against a wall off of Going and
I can help us stay monetized.
Yes.
And not shadow banned, hopefully. I mean, as much as I can. This is not going to help very much.
Yep. So this show, we've got a lot of good stuff coming on. I mean, this is a new format. I'm so excited about this. This is something that Elijah and I have been working on, and this is going to change the game on how we do social media, on getting a grip on things. You can check me out also on I Am James the Thinking Contractor, some of my personal thoughts and my more edgier things that I, don't want to get
mixed in the crossfire,
Yeah, so... But basically, today we're going to talk about TikTok. We got some TikToks that I'm going to respond to. Elijah's got some stuff that I have no idea what I'm even looking at. There's some news that we're going to cover, something about Bud Light. I have no idea. I'm going to look at that. Elijah's got that covered. I don't know. Some of the stuff's just going to be me responding because I need to respond openly and honestly before I review it. Now, I do want to tell you that we are going to talk about Andrew Tate today, and the Tucker Carlson interview, and how Tucker Carlson is solely on Twitter.
Yes.
So that's a big thing. This is a huge interview. It's very, very long. And I'm not going to lie. I want to be completely honest. I know nothing about Andrew Tate, nothing other than hearing his name and people saying that he is very controversial. So, but I got to tell you, I watched the interview and it's crazy. It's mind blowing. Like just how he's being attacked. And so is he a hero? Is he a villain? I don't know. We're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about some of the stuff he says. We've got a couple cool segments coming up, and I'm totally stoked about this show, man.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Don't forget that you can find us anywhere you listen to your podcasts, and also find us on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube. I might make a Twitter, and we might be making a TikTok as well. So just stay tuned. We'll link the socials in the description below. So check it out. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave a review, all that stupid stuff that you hate hearing.
Yep. I love it. Dude, do knives get you shadow banned?
If you use them, maybe. But all you see is the bottom of your knife. It's okay. You can't even really tell it's a knife.
Well.
Oh, that. Okay.
Yeah. I got this at a gas station. It's amazing. I have a knife fetish. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I have a real problem. Like, when I go into a gas station and I need gas and I see a display of knives, I'll stop and stare at it for 5 minutes.
Why?
I don't know.
Have you ever been to, like, one of those big expos that they do out in Novi?
No, I probably wouldn't leave. I would be there.
It's bad.
I'd be there for 9 hours.
It's bad, dude.
Look at this knife. It's a wrench that probably doesn't fit any type of nut.
It does nothing.
No. But I saw it and I said, I made a woman come out from behind the counter into a locked cabinet. She had to lay on the floor to get to the lock, to get the drawer open and search through it for 5 minutes to find this knife, which cost, I think, $8.
And that was $8 worth of work you made her do at least.
Seriously. And her face was beet red. She's a heavier woman, and she struggled to get to the drawer. And I just stood over her with my arms crossed, and I wasn't going to let up. I needed her to find this knife. And she's like, I can't find it. I'm like, it's in there. I know it's in there. And I made her find it, and I got it. Look, it does that. It's amazing.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, let's move into so we're going to be working this show into segments, and each week the segments will kind of change up depending on what we cover, what we want to talk about. The first thing we're going to get into is our news for the week, and that is about Bud Light. Now, Bud Light's been controversial for quite a while now.
Come on.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of money. The newest number says that they've lost about $27 billion.
What?
Yes, and I'll get to that. But I wanted to show everybody, if you don't know, Bud Light basically paid a transgender, Dylan Mulvaney, to promote their beverage. And I just wanted to show you the original ad and where Dylan Mulvaney's currently at afterwards.
Nice.
Hi. Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate.
This is my first time
seeing
this.
This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram story.
Can you go back to the face? That is awful. That looks like, that doesn't look like, that looks like horror. That's like a horror movie face.
Yeah.
That's the same face you make as your intestines are getting ripped out of you. No!
With my face on it. Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too. Love ya!
Nice.
Oh. So anyways, basically, as soon as that happened, conservatives all across America stopped purchasing Bud Light. I mean, they still buy other beers that are owned by Anheuser-Busch. Anheuser-Busch is huge, but Bud Light sales plummeted to where people were refusing deliveries. I can share the story right here, actually. So let me pull that up for you. So you throw this up here. Bud Light stocks suffer huge tumble as company loses $4 billion in 1 week. All right, everybody already knows about all this. They lost a ton of money. All conservative activists they just continue to boycott. They're unrelenting. It hasn't ended. Period.
$4 billion, dude.
Oh, dude, it's insane.
That is, and the thing is,
that's not a small amount of money.
No, it's not. But
now it's $27 billion.
So now they're probably okay. $4 billion. Let's be honest. Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch. It probably was like, okay, that's $4 billion, guys. Yeah, okay. Hope this goes away. $8 billion. They might have been like, this is getting bad. $12 billion. They're probably freaking out, and now we're at $27 billion. Dude, now we've got their attention, right? Or I say we, people that are like tired of this woke crap. What's Bud Light doing? What is Anheuser-Busch doing? What are they saying? Have they actually apologized? Or are they saying, like, from what I've read, they're just doubling down. They don't stop. They don't care. They're not like fully like.
Oh no, they continue to double down on everything. I'm also trying to find this here. Let's see. I can't remember how to check comments on a Twitter thread. Oh, there we go. Okay, so they're getting absolutely lambasted. But this past, or like 2 weekends ago,
yeah.
There's this video I also want to share. Let's share this here. Bud Light sales. Look at this. Just watch. This is in Costco.
I'll make another video. Follow me inside. Bud Light is not selling. This is garbage beer. Check it out. Even with the coupon. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this beer.
So nobody's buying Bud Light, basically. And Costco is preparing to empty its shelves completely.
Wow.
Of Bud Light. Completely empty the shelves.
So
get rid of it all.
I heard it went from number 1 beer to number 14, which is huge. You went from the number 1 beer to number 14. And it's not like, it's funny because in that video he goes, it's trash beer. I don't necessarily think it's trash beer. It hasn't changed its taste. Tastes exactly the same as it did 5 years ago, 2 years ago. It's the backing of what they're believing in, what they're pushing on our society. And I think that's what we're going to get into today with, masculinity and
100%.
all of it is. I mean, it ties right in.
And
right?
that's why I want to show that. Also, one more thing I wanted to share. So Elon Musk, if you don't know, owns Twitter now. And we'll eventually get into that with Tucker Carlson as well. But so if you go to Bud Light's Twitter and you go to their comments on all their posts, all these people, Bud Light Backyard Tour, their comments, Elon Musk introduced a feature that allows you to unhide comments that the companies or the pages hide. So they're absolutely being, did Costco drop you? You're like an ex-girlfriend that won't take no as an answer. Like all these things, all Bud Light is not welcome in my backyard. Like all these different things.
Wow.
So they're getting absolutely lambasted nonstop. It's still going on. This post was from yesterday.
Wow.
And it has over 2,300 comments lambasting them.
Yeah.
Go broke, man. And I just wanted to show you where Dylan Mulvaney's at currently.
It just goes to show you how much the left thinking, they don't have their finger on the pulse of reality.
They don't. And they thought it was a good idea, and they keep doing it.
Yep.
They keep going with it. They keep doubling down, sponsoring pride events and all. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
And the transgenders are starting to turn on, like gays are starting to turn on them because guess what? They tried backing up and going back to conservatism, but the conservatives didn't want them.
Yeah.
And then the transgenders are upset that they went back on their word with them, and now they're trying to get back in their good graces. They can't win. They cannot win.
Dude, it's the problem is we're being forced into this. This is not it's so much like it's coercion. It's like they're not allowing us to even process. Listen, I don't want to process Dylan Mulvaney, to be honest with you. I don't drink beer, but if I did and I was taking a chug and I saw that face, I'd be like, what's this creepy looking woman doing on here? I would have no idea. Like if I didn't know that was a man, I would just look at that woman and go, what in the heck what is this? So the fact of it is that it's like, why do they need other people to tell them that it's okay, right? Like it would be no big deal if that was just a woman and she had done something great, like ran 100 miles or swam across something or jumped or anything. You can add whatever you want, actually. But what is it that Dylan Mulvaney has done? He's trying to be something he can't be, which is a woman, and now they're forcing it on us.
And way to know your audience too.
Yeah, right. They don't care. That's just the thing. They don't care. They just keep
crazy
pushing it. And it's so at this point, I mean, we all know about the agenda points and we know how that the corporations are getting, if they go along with a certain format, they're getting more, I believe stocks. Is that how it is? Or they're getting some sort of like, there's a point system there. And so the more woke you are, the better you are as a corporation. And
pretty much. Oh, what is that called?
Yeah, I can't remember.
There's some company that basically takes into account how many people you hire that are
right.
Different ethnicity or if they're gay or what. It's so like you have to meet these standards.
Yeah, and it's garbage.
It's absolute trash. It makes no sense.
Yep. And so, I mean, if you wanted to say that the beer was garbage because of that, then awesome. I don't think the taste has changed. I think their marketing plan has changed and it's failing. And what's crazy to me, because I own a business, when something's failing and you continue to do it, that's just suicide.
Yeah, you have to pivot. You have to change things up. And they haven't taken responsibility. They haven't held themselves accountable for anything they've done. And they probably won't.
No. And I don't care if the beer goes out of business. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I don't really drink alcohol either.
Right. So
I did want to show this clip of Dylan Mulvaney currently. Yeah, let's check in with him.
Surprise! I'm in Peru, and I'm at Machu Picchu. Isn't this just so beautiful? I'm here by myself, and I used to do a ton of solo traveling. I'm telling you, it's the best. If you could ever do a solo trip somewhere, it is such a good way to get to know yourself better. But I came here to feel something. You know what I mean? And I definitely have. I've done shaman ceremonies that were like 10 years worth of therapy. It was
What is
wild.
a shaman ceremony?
I don't know, dude.
A lot of llamas. And the people here are so kind. I feel very safe.
If I had those nails,
wait, listen. This is very important right
here.
here.
So kind. I feel very safe here. It's a little sad that I had to leave my country to feel safe, but that will get better eventually.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Can you zoom in on that face?
I can't in editing.
Yeah, maybe. If you didn't know that there was pigtails and makeup and you just saw that. I mean, I could see that's a dude.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it could just, I mean, if you didn't ever hear the voice, it could be, hey, let's try Bud Light. I mean, but those nails, dude, those fingernails.
Yeah, where's that at? Oh, it's pretty rough right there.
If I had those, you know what kind of garbage would be underneath them things?
Oh, gosh. I don't want to think about it.
I was in a hotel with my wife the other day, and she caught me doing like an air hanky in the hotel, in the room. Listen, I don't know. I got problems. I was like, I had a booger in my nose, and my mind said, go get a Kleenex, but I knew I wasn't at home, and for some reason I kind of air hockeyed it right out of my and she was behind me, and I turned around and she goes, what is wrong with you? What's even worse is I took my toe and I mashed it into the carpet.
Oh, dude, no, man, no.
Yeah, I got in trouble, dude. My wife, she thinks I'm disgusting. I am disgusting. I'm a dude. I can't help it. But anyway.
So I feel like that was probably the most prevalent news this week.
That's
not
not news.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's other stuff going on. But I just wanted to update everybody on the current Bud Light status. Down 27 billion.
Right.
Which is a good thing in my opinion. Let them know how you feel, please.
Please.
And now we're going to move on to our What the F segment. We were basically just going to be reacting to crazy videos, TikToks, anything like that. And yeah, I mean, the videos just kind of speak for themselves. So yeah, brace yourselves.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Those eyes.
Oh, gosh.
Is this Evanescence?
Oh, can you
He didn't even finish. So if you guys know the popular meme where it was this dude singing Chestnuts on the open fire, whatever that song is, there's like a whole group of people on Smule that like worship this man.
It's those eyes.
And yeah, I know. They're very hypnotic. This one's even better.
Right.
I brings the sexy babe.
There he is. Just let it play.
Sexy babe. Then upper boy don't know how to act.
Dude, is this for real? Like, these people are like...
No, they're serious.
How many likes did that have?
Serious. Oh,
many
I don't know. Do I even have it pulled up anymore? Not that many.
It's amazing.
Not that many.
I bring the sexy back. I love that the camera's like all the way
in outer space.
She bring the sexy back.
Now we just have our main topic, man.
Do we, Elijah? Do we really have a main topic? I can't even it's like bizarro world we're living in. Like I
know, man.
It's just nuts. All right, okay, whatever. So
just to let it. That stuff's going on all the time, 24/7. If you saw what I save on Instagram that me and my wife laugh at while we're laying in bed late at night, I would probably be in a federal prison because it is so.
Dude, the problem is that okay, so you and we're making content. We have we've got equipment. We're recording our opinions and thoughts. And listen, 5 years ago, I would have told you that you and I were in the majority of what most people think.
Yes.
But right now in 2023, I feel like you and I are among the remnant of people that don't think the stuff that we just watched is insane.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I believe, and I know that they keep saying the silent majority and all this. I don't believe that most people care. They
don't. People do not care.
Yeah.
And they follow. I mean, that's a great segue into what we're going to be talking about. But they just follow whatever is kind of shoved down their throats.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. Most people do.
Well, so let's talk about this Andrew Tate character, right? Okay, so I don't know really much about him. I do know he's a personality. He's a social media personality. He's a philanthropist. I believe he's a millionaire, if not billionaire. I don't know anything about him. And it's not because I don't care. It's just he's like the last thing on my radar until I found out that Tucker Carlson is doing an interview with him. And I watched the interview. And I'm going to tell you before I give you my final thoughts, I was impressed with the way that Tucker did the intro with Andrew because it was powerful. And I want to tell you that if you do watch this very long interview, you're going to agree with me that Tucker's intro really speaks volumes about where we're at as a society and why it's time that we do start caring and start talking and having some of these hard discussions. But yeah, if you have that, I don't know if you wanted to intro that with Tucker now or how the flow of this is going to go. But I mean, we're here. But I will tell you this. Before we go into any of the Andrew Tate stuff, I have a real pro, a professional, a guy that I like to bounce. I love this cat. He's nuts. He is a construction worker. He's a friend of mine, but he has no filter.
He's amazing.
He has no ambitions to be a YouTube sensation or a social media presence, but he just speaks whatever he pops into his brain. And so we got a new segment called Ask Tony because Tony's thoughts are unfiltered and they're raw. So
just enjoy this.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Ask Tony.
Soak it all in.
'Cause I got a million reasons to keep holding on. Yeah, I got all that it takes to win and overcome. What I got is just a feeling, but it's so strong.
Oh,
Tony. Anthony.
hey, why are you in California?
Just the number we're calling from. Dude, this is the segment Ask Tony. So listen, we're doing a show about Andrew Tate. You know who he is?
Yeah, he's our next president.
Do you really know who he is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really think he should be our next president.
Yeah, I do too. But so do you know that he's not really arrested, but they have him incarcerated because they said for human trafficking?
Yeah, but it's the wrong trafficking.
Yeah, it's just they made it up. They said he was making there's a Tucker Carlson video and he interviews them and he just basically says they're lying and saying that TikTok, he made TikTok videos, he made girls make TikTok videos and he stole their money. And it's just ridiculous. It's hilarious. But it's serious charges though. But my question to you is do you think that us being masculine is an important role in society with women, and should we be over women? Should we be in control of them? What's your opinion on men and women? What's your view?
I don't think it's necessarily control, but there definitely has to be both sides. I mean, that's what he kind of talks about. He's never had women as slaves per se, but it's like if we're out here risking our lives for the money and this and that, they should be at home taking care of the home.
Nice.
How it should be. I mean, you can kind of have it both ways too, I guess, but I mean, it's definitely not about slaves, that's for sure.
Who's your favorite woman?
Favorite woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One that can't speak. Any of them fall in those categories.
So there you go. There's Anthony's view. I don't think we need any more. We're probably going to get totally taken off the air for that. But, dude, that's amazing. All right. Talk to you, brother.
Or at least raise their hands first. How about that?
There you go.
You can meet in the middle.
Well,
Okay,
maybe
yeah,
with Andrew Tate
compromise.
as our new president, we can put that into law. All women
Yeah,
must raise
I
their
agree.
hands before speaking. Dude. All right, we're going to be shadow banned before we even get out the gate. But all right, man. I'll talk to you.
All right,
Bye.
buddy. I'll talk to you.
All right, bye. Well, there you go. Ask Tony. That is
Years
some
of wisdom.
Anthony Gold right there. So there you have it.
If you're ever curious about his preference in women, there you go.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure that Andrew Tate is president material, although I agreed with him just to keep the conversation moving because I didn't even know if he knew who he was, but apparently Anthony does know who Andrew Tate is. So But on a serious note, listen to Tucker. I guess we'll roll into what you want to do. Tucker's intro.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's show
Yeah.
people what he had to say at the beginning of his opening monologue.
Right.
Is that men want respect above all. It's how they're wired. In order to get respect, men must become worthy of it. They must become more impressive. Wake up early, work as hard as you can, stay sober, find God, keep yourself physically fit.
Okay.
Don't complain. That's his worldview. Earlier generations of Western leaders might have found parts of Tate's message inspiring. Now it's seen as a threat. The media treated him like a criminal up until the day he was officially classified as one.
So if you don't know, and if you haven't kept up with Andrew Tate, he's a very controversial figure. Extremely controversial.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate him for a lot of things he said. So I'm going to show you kind of like what people would say is the bad side of Andrew Tate, or his most controversial clips. I'll just kind of roll through some of those here.
So basically, there are no men in the world with balls. When I was broke, I think I've told the story to anyone who follows me long enough about the time I was walking to college and I saw a Ferrari burn past me, and I was furious. And I said to my friends, guys, that's a Ferrari. And they're like, so? I was like, bro, that dude has 400 grand for a car. Our mothers all live on council estates. We have to walk 3 miles to college because none of our parents even have any car. Don't you understand? There's a hack in the matrix we've not discovered. We're brokies. Don't you want to get rich? And they were like, oh, well, yeah, I guess. They're all still broke. I couldn't sleep for weeks knowing that that man knew something about the matrix that I didn't know, and he got to drive a Ferrari while I had to walk. I was only 18. Here I am. I just bought a second Bugatti, my second one. I have 26 cars. I got one sitting right there, a Bugatti. I bought another one. I got a plane. I've got unlimited houses, hundreds of millions of dollars. And there are people who are going to watch my videos and go, yeah, that's cool. I'm tired now. Guess I'll just take a nap. The fuck is wrong with you people?
This is almost where I kind of felt bad. Because they were like, can we meet? I sent you $200,000. Can we meet? Can we meet? Can we meet? And the problem
What was
is,
the most that one person sent to a model? Total.
million?
Wow.
They'd want to meet the chick, right? I only did a meeting once ever. I had a big customer with my best girl.
How much did that cost?
He paid 50 G's for dinner. Just dinner. It was clear it was just dinner. We booked a really nice restaurant in London.
See?
Me, my brother, and about 4 of my other kickboxing boys on different tables. He doesn't know what we look like, right? So he's gone to dinner. She's sitting at the table. He's sitting at dinner. He's surrounded by killers, bro. He didn't even know. Casey was weird. We tried to drug her or some shit, right?
Why did you get banned?
I don't know exactly why they banned me. I just tried to log in Instagram a couple hours ago. It wouldn't let me. I have good people on the case. I trust due process with Instagram. I'm actually quite understanding of their position. I do understand it very, very well. I'm not angry at them in any regard. It's not a big loss for me. It's not something I use too often. But I do understand their position because we're actually living in a world now where it's kind of strange. This is an unprecedented period of human history. And we have internet sensationalism, global sensationalism on a scale which has never happened before. I wake up every day excited. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. And I very much live my life in a frame of, no, I have to do this. It's very much a, I get to do this. There's another thing that a lot of people make a mistake with when I talk to them, like, I have to go to work today. Change your language.
So he's pretty much just a role model for a lot of younger men. I don't know too much about his history of how he got his wealth, but clearly he was selling time with women, basically being a pimp. That's what a lot of people would say.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so you have that aspect of it, which I don't know. I didn't know.
Yep.
I mean, there are people that definitely say that he's got negative things about him.
Yeah.
And then you add what Tucker Carlson, and you add into that with what we already know from his past. I have mixed feelings about it. But I got to tell you this, Tucker, I do encourage everybody to listen to the whole interview with Tucker because he does ask hard questions, right? But I think, well, we'll get to my final thoughts, but what I think right now going into this is that Tucker says something right at the beginning that we didn't play. And you can go back and look at this. Right at the beginning, he says, imagine being a boy in America. He goes, and he basically sums up that this is what boys have to deal with. They're either going to commit suicide which a lot of them do, and the numbers are up, or they commit another type of suicide, which most 19-year-olds are smoking weed and going into a vegetative state of video games and pornography and have no life. He said, or you become a woman, because they're being told that being a woman is more powerful than a man and it's better than being a man. So I'd rather be a woman.
It's the feminization of America, man.
Yeah.
The masculinizing of men.
Right. So then you have, exactly. And you have this guy like Andrew Tate, who is the spokesperson, if you will, of masculinity according to himself, which I don't think is a great thing. I mean, I don't need a guy like Andrew Tate, representing me.
Yeah, but a lot of young men who would be shaped otherwise see him as a role model.
Right.
Like a voice, like how he refers to like the Matrix a lot.
Yep.
And what he talks about, and basically how society has shaped and molded young men a certain way.
Yeah.
And he wants to break that mold. He's very much about traditional roles for men and women. And that's why I think so many people push back against him.
Yeah. Well, you're not... I don't know, dude. It's like a mixed bag. You're probably right. I don't know. I would say a lot of people push back against him for the simple fact is the feminist movement wants to absolutely take over the role or the equality of men. And I'm a Christian, so I take everything that I have. It goes through the lens or the viewing of my life into other things. I view it through Scripture. So one of the biggest things that I see in my life, and I'm going to quote Scripture, it's Genesis chapter 3. And I think it's hard for people because if you don't believe in the Bible or you don't believe in Jesus or God or any type of beginning of anything, this doesn't matter to you, right? You don't care. You think that men and women are equal all the way around, and it's just one's got one set of plumbing and the other one's got another set, but ultimately they're interchangeable at any point. If you believe that, you're not going to follow this at all. But the understanding of that the beginning of humanity says in Genesis 3, it says, to the woman, he said, I will greatly increase your pains in childbearing. With pain, you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. Now, I want to be very, very clear here in that Genesis 3. This was right after they ate of the fruit or whatever, however theology. I'm not here to try to convince you of this. Yeah. I'm just telling you the story that apparently they ate from some fruit. They were forbidden to eat of it. Eve did it, and she gets 2 curses. 1, increased pains in childbearing, and with her pain, she's going to give birth. And then 2, she's going to desire her husband, and he will rule over her. That's a curse. That is not a blessing. It is a curse, and it's a hard pill to swallow. So moving forward from this point on of the show, like however serious or funny we want to be, there is an absolute, in my viewing lens, there's a curse going on with this, and women are cursed to something. Did they deserve it? My answer, honestly, I believe yes. We deserve what we have, and that's part of the brokenness of where humanity's coming from. Where I look at it, and it's comical at times. But at other times it seems insane, almost like I don't know, man, like the Joker movie. Like there's like this so sick, weird sadness of laughter to everything it's psychotic. And because we don't want to come to terms with the fact that men were put over women out of a curse. We can't fix this curse, right? So without getting too preachy, let's move into the Tucker part of it, because I think we're onto something here. And I don't necessarily want to form my opinion of Andrew Tate yet. I want people to form their opinion. So let's go on.
Charge is that there's an organized criminal group. There's a group of us. I'm
so
the
this
head
is
of
kind
it.
of explaining
My
his
brother is
charges.
below me, and we use the lover boy method to convince women to do TikTok videos to make money so that we can steal the TikTok money.
So there's no, just to be clear, you are not accused of pandering, of pimping, of forcing women to have sex with anybody.
No, not forcing them to have sex, not restraining their movement, not stopping them from living a full life, but the fact that we are somehow convincing them to have TikTok.
Very interesting. I don't think.
But there's no actual. I'm asking you this because I do think it's a widespread belief that you were accused of pimping.
Yeah, no, that's nothing to do with any of this case. Absolutely nothing. And it's kind of scary.
So he says nothing with this
the
case.
crime in itself of human trafficking is a unique one because they can ignore the statement of the victim. So the girls have come forward and said, this is insane. You've just picked us because we're near Andrew and we're his friends. But the whole idea of the crime is they can say that she's brainwashed, right? She's under duress. So you can ignore her statement.
Wow. So essentially they get into this and he basically goes on from there and says, okay, so Andrew Tate coerced them into making TikToks because he's a good-looking, charming man, and then he took all their money from them. That's trafficking. But when the women come forward and say, well, wait a minute, we know him and he hasn't done any of that, and we haven't done any, there's no money change, there's no anything. And then Tucker Carlson goes on and says, so basically they're accusing you of coercion. And then when the women come forward, they coerce them and telling them that their opinion doesn't matter and you're going to listen to us.
Yeah.
It's just garbage. That right there alone. So I'm going to make a judgment call right now. Because of that scenario, this is a garbage case that they have against him.
They're just trying to get him. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
And regardless of how much of a scumbag he is or whatever, like I don't know much about Andrew Tate other than that he makes women livid. And clearly. And that's it. But he even mentioned the whole pimping thing. That was separate from this. This has nothing to do with what's going on right now.
Right. I mean, clearly, though, they're out to get him. And he is.
Yeah.
So he goes on and on in the interview. And like I said, it's a very, very long interview. It is a good interview, though, because it does talk about masculinity, toxic masculinity, roles, and things of that nature. But again, through my filter and the way that I view life and the way that I see things, men being above women, it's a curse. It really is. It was never meant to be that way. I just want to be clear about that. So for women to be their hearts pricked or frustrated, it's part of that enmity, the struggle, if you will, of what's going on in this existence. And I think that it's diminished when you have a guy like Andrew Tate just keep pushing the fact that this is a traditional role. This is what we need, and he's right. But it needs to be addressed that it's a curse.
Yeah.
And it's not a good thing. So how then should men act towards their women if it's a curse? Shouldn't we ease the burden of that curse?
Yeah. And I mean, it even, scripture also talks about, what is it? Like dying to yourself for your wife. Like men are supposed to do that.
That's right. And I don't hear him talk about that at all.
No. And that's where he kind of, he is a very materialistic person who believes that men earn all their own things through their mindset and what they do.
Right.
Well,
I'll tell you too, that video that you played of him, and he said he watched this $400,000 car go, and he's like, oh, I'm going to go, his friend said, I'm going to go take a nap. I don't care that anybody drives a $400,000 car, and it's not going to make me wake up in the morning. I would be the guy that would want to go take a nap. Now, do I want to make money? Do I want to be successful? I would say that maybe our end would be to provide for our families, but I don't necessarily look at money and status as huge gains and something that I chase after.
Yeah,
right? Like
not at all.
I want peace in my life. I want to be healthy. I want to have joy. I want to be kind.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that, to be honest with you, especially nowadays. Like the lines have been drawn so deep and distinct in the sand that any type of kindness that I even portray comes off as toxic.
Yep.
It's just crazy. So I think that like with this interview, and here's this guy sitting in prison. But what I do want to say though is like, kind of freaks me out, because if you become any type of influence on society and they don't like it, and it goes against what whoever's pushing what the norm is supposed to be, sounds like you can just get thrown away. You can get
pretty
locked
much.
up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of terrifying. I mean, but Jesus was a pretty big influencer.
Yeah, that's true.
Look what they did to him. Gandhi. I mean, there's people. I mean, even John Lennon. I don't mean to put John Lennon, Gandhi, and Jesus in the same category, because I don't think that but they did make huge influential changes in a society that weren't ready for it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even like Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
He wasn't a great person at all.
No.
He was actually a horrible person, was known to sexually assault women. He had multiple mistresses, really awful person. But his core values and beliefs were life-altering for millions and millions of people.
Allegedly. He was allegedly a bad person.
Yes.
Yeah,
there you go. Thanks for that. I'm supposed to be the one keeping you in check.
Right.
But that's what happens.
Yeah.
People don't like change or truths or reality.
Right.
And if it doesn't fit the narrative, the current narrative, they silence you or cancel you now. That's just being canceled.
Yeah.
That's what happens. We have 2 more clips, though, of this interview with Tucker and Andrew.
Tate, kind of an outlaw, lives in some palace in Romania, wherever that is.
He's kind of explaining other people's views
Romania
of him.
sounds like the kind of place where human trafficking is like the main industry.
A lot of it happens here. That's what's so crazy about it, right? What's so crazy is if they really want to find a human trafficker, I think they could probably do it quite easily. But they managed to get me.
That's certainly the perception. But it's one of those charges that kind of sells itself.
Oh, absolutely. And it doesn't matter if you're found guilty or not, right? You're a human trafficker.
See, and this is what we were just talking about.
But I do think that public consciousness is changing. I think with things like there's been some very large court cases recently involving some very famous people in which women were caught lying, trying to slander men's names for
Johnny Depp
kinds of
and
things.
Amber Heard.
And I don't think people believe it anymore. But that scares me to a degree because I think that the typical weapon, the standardized playbook is now failing, and I don't know what the new playbook's going to be. It's almost like better the devil you know. You're too famous, you're too successful, we don't like you. Call him a rapist or a human trafficker, put him all over the news, slander his name, try and wreck his life. Now that nobody believes it, what's the next move? What are they going to try next?
So there's a couple things that really, just going back and watching that again, I don't know why my brain goes off on these tangents, but I got really disturbed when Tucker Carlson was laughing when he said that Romania has actual sex trafficking. I didn't find anything funny about that.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything comical that Andrew Tate chose to live in Romania, and that's where there's a lot of sex trafficking going on. And here Andrew was getting charged, and if they really wanted to find a sex trafficker, they could have picked anybody but him, right? I didn't find it humorous, and it kind of freaked me out that Tucker thought it was funny. Maybe he was just uncomfortable. I don't know. It kind of just threw me off. I just really didn't like it. But more than that, Andrew Tate says something in there. He says public consciousness. And I struggle with that because that's like, to me, that's when those are like one of those buzzwords that they don't gel with me.
It's kind of like mob mentality or tribalism.
Yep. And I have a hard time with it. I have a hard time with public health. The public doesn't have health.
Yeah.
People have health. People have a conscience, not public. There's no such. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it kind of isolates certain people into categories.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah. No, it is.
You either drink
100%.
Bud Light and you're anti-gay, or you don't drink Bud.
Yeah, and you have to fit in that mold. And people would assume, right? So let's say you are anti-gay, right? Let's say you don't support Bud Light and this Dylan Mulvaney ad. People would assume, okay, so you love guns, you want to build a wall between the United States and Mexico, you want to deport all illegal immigrants, you want to make it mandatory to say the pledge or pray at school, you want X amount of guns, no restrictions. Like, you don't have to agree to all of those things,
right,
to view one of them as wrong or right. Or they'll immediately assume, like some people would immediately assume, that all Democrats are pro-abortion. Not all Democrats are pro-abortion.
No.
Right? And you can't, but people like to force people to pick a side. So with this whole Andrew Tate thing, it's,
nailed it.
Do you support Andrew Tate? Oh, you do? Okay, well then you're an evil fascist who wants America and young girls to suffer forever.
I think you just nailed the whole topic of the whole point of all of this. Public consciousness right there. Dude, you nailed it, Elijah. That's what this is. This is taking individuality and climaxing it to a supernova, going on one person, broadcasting it globally, and breaking things down into categories, which is either for it or you're against it. And that's why when I hear about this Andrew Tate thing, I'm very reluctant to take a side.
Yeah.
It's hard for me because I want to look at this guy and go, yeah, this is gold. This guy is a strong, masculine. This is what we need, masculinity. But there is this toxicity there. That,
100%.
That I don't agree with.
And anybody who's willing to sell dates with women
it's just
is
weird.
not somebody I want to support.
I agree. It's totally weird.
That doesn't mean that I don't believe in some of the principles that he's teaching.
I agree.
Young men. But you can't have both. Like I say this all the time, and my wife makes fun of me all the time. Two things can be true at the same time. But people don't want that.
No, because it's too complex. Because then you're responsible for not reacting but responding.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the problem.
Exactly.
That's good. I got goosebumps.
We have one more clip from that interview, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
Because of the mass influence I have, at one point I became the most Googled man on earth.
Which is crazy.
And it's a scary situation I'm
But
in.
if you're arguing that it's really important for a man to find a good woman, a decent woman, an honest woman, that's the truest thing that's ever been said. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's the most important thing any man can do. I mean, I can just tell you firsthand.
Oh, thank you very
being
much.
Married 30.
Well, one, that's not the most important thing any man can do. I do not believe that. But that, like I said, I agree with some of the things. Like I agree that that's an important principle, right?
Yeah.
But
it's up there for sure.
I don't agree with that being the most important thing in life.
No.
And that's where
I don't think I do either.
People
to be honest
would
with you.
think because we think that some of these principles are good, that we would be completely for everything that he's saying and doing.
Let's talk about a principle that I think is more important than finding a good woman for a wife. I think doing the right thing in every moment of your life is above that.
100%.
So the problem that I have with him is he was paying girls to come hang out at clubs with him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
weird.
It's weird.
That's not, in my opinion, that's not right.
No, it's pimping.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry. I mean, but
it is.
That's kind of like where we're at right now. And so the lines are blurred. And I feel, because, okay, I like Tucker Carlson. I like a lot of what he says. But I feel like him advocating for this, I know everything is so explosive, and it's either this or it's either that. It's either black or it's white. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those things you got to question critically, like looking at this going, okay, this is huge. This is mainstream. It's huge. And there's no nuance. Nobody picks apart the nuances of everything anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that if we're going to do getting a grip on things and we're talking about stuff like this, part of this is looking at the nuances of large topics and pulling at it. Let's get a handle on what's going on, because I'm not going to lie. I think that our boys, our young men, and all men right now are under attack. We're struggling. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want Andrew Tate to be my spokesperson.
No, I don't either.
No, I don't.
But that's what people assume.
Yeah.
That's what people assume.
Yep. So, I mean, I can think of 100 more men that I would rather be a spokesperson than him. But he's got some great stuff to say.
Yeah. My personal spokesperson is Tony.
I'm so glad you said that. I was thinking that too. Right when you said it, I think he's going to say Jesus. No, he says Tony.
No, I could tell you were thinking I was going to say either Jesus or God.
No, it's Tony.
No, it's Tony.
Ask Tony. He knows.
He knows. If you're ever curious, just DM us. We'll give you his number.
Tony is an untapped supply of force. I don't want to call it. It's knowledge. And he is a wealth of it.
Tony versus Tate.
Yep. So that's good stuff. Ask Tony. All right, so where are we? How much more of this we got?
Oh, I mean, do you want to finish this?
Yeah,
clip?
let's finish it.
All right.
2 years, that's the most important thing. And you think saying that angered people?
Absolutely, because I'm arguing the only way to do that is via masculine excellence. I'm saying in the world we live in today, it's hyper-competitive, and if you want to be the kind of man that has the choice of women to choose a good one, you need to be an excellent man. It's no longer acceptable for you to just be an average Joe or below average. You have to get up, and you have to work hard, and you have to be smart and interesting, and you have to be charismatic and make some money and be in good shape, and you have to try very hard. And unfortunately, for them, if you follow that path as a man and you become successful in those realms, you end up being the kind of person who resists enslavement. You become the kind of person who wakes up and says, no, I don't believe in that. That doesn't make sense to me.
I can't imagine a better message than that.
If you want a good society. So then you have to argue and sit and say, do these people want a happy, functioning society, or do they want something else?
I disagree with this charismatic statement.
Yeah.
Charisma sucks.
Me too.
I hate charisma. Charisma is fake. It's bloated. It's a salesman. That's what charisma is.
It's
charming.
like going to a used car dealership.
Yeah, that is not masculine excellence to being charismatic or charming. Masculine excellence is when it pays nothing, you gain nothing, you lose a lot of your own self in protecting.
It's dying to yourself.
Dying to yourself. That is masculine excellence. Masculine excellence, in my opinion, is a man meets a woman and they have children and they raise a family and they sacrifice. That's where joy is found. That's where peace is. I mean, part of it. That's only part of it, though, because people do that every day and they experience that, but they're only halfway there. Because what people don't realize, and I get preachy here, I don't care. I believe in Jesus. I think, and I know in my own life that my marriage is a reflection of what God did for me.
Yeah.
That there is a real relationship with my wife the way that God loves us. And it has nothing to do with sex. It has everything to do with sacrifice.
You know, my wife and I were just talking about this literally yesterday. We were going to go pick up a washer and dryer somewhere that's like an hour away from where we live. And she was telling me, she's like, God was just kind of laying on my heart. All of these young women who cheat or leave their boyfriend or husband or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all because they predicated their relationship on sex, on sexual satisfaction, or what the other person can do for them. And she's like, that's the most selfish thing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, it's all selfish. It's all that's, I think, my whole problem with Andrew Tate is that it's all based around him.
Yeah.
He is only in it for satisfying himself. So I think that his message has a lot of good things that young men can glean from and learn from and implement into their lives. But at the end of the day, it's where's your heart, you know?
Yeah. It's funny too, because like I look back on this and I'm thinking, like, Andrew Tate, would he ever be caught air hockeying a booger in a hotel room with his wife? And then my wife, my wife loves me. I mean, I'm flawed. I'm not charismatic.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite of charismatic. What I am is I'm a protector. I protect my family, you know, and he may be too. I don't want to judge the guy too harshly, but you know, guilty or not guilty, I don't think he's guilty of what they're accusing him of. That's just my opinion. That's my final thought, if you will. But I think the bigger picture here of my take on all of this, from the news to everything that we're discussing right now, Elijah, is that we are being forced as a society to look at things in a mega mass scale and make harsh, rash decisions so that we can be corralled into a corner, so that they can separate us, if you want, sheep and goats.
Yep.
And I think that right there is evil. I think it's evil in its truest form, because it's what they did to the Jews. That it's the truth. That's
happened all throughout history.
Throughout history. And I think the implications of what I see right now in the world that we're living in. Even Dylan Mulvaney said, here I'm out of the state and I don't feel safe in my own country anymore. Why? Because he just categorized all of the United States.
Yep.
Why? Because of $27 billion of a market loss in beer causes him to say that America is hateful.
Yeah.
No, we're not hateful. We're tired of being pushed and forced into a corner that we don't want to be in. We're going against nature. We're going against things that are, just like truth, like you said, you can have two things can be true at the same time. I mean, it's things are relative, but there is absolute truth. There is absolute truth. You can't wrestle with that because then you're talking subjective and objective truth, right? And if everything was subjective based on like how we feel, then, eating the dead, or you can put any spin you want to on any sickness. And as long as society deems it's okay, then you're okay, right? So I think what this is, my final thoughts is that this is just a breaking down of our moral consciousness. As long as they have social media outlets pushing huge thoughts, corralling us into black or white, left or right, one or two.
We'll never get away from it.
Well, yeah, but we
never
have
will.
to. But see, it takes the responsibility off of us.
Yes.
And that's what I'm getting at.
And you don't have to step away from the news, man.
Yeah.
Go get involved in your local community, local politics. Find people in your life. Go to church. Find people. Get a support group. Stop letting this narrative convolute your entire life and everyone around you, because it's the furthest thing from the truth.
Seriously, you would do more. There would be more good and productiveness in your life if you went and picked up cigarette butts for 4 hours in a city sidewalk.
When's the last time you've mowed the elderly person's lawn?
Yeah.
When's the last time you've shoveled their driveway? When's the last time you made a meal for your neighbors?
That's right. That's more effective than having an opinion about Andrew Tate. I'm serious. I'd rather not know about the guy, to be truthful. Yeah. But I mean, I feel bad that he's in prison, but I think part of this is the agenda to corral us into
100%
into crime thoughts. They once we're categorized, because it's all part of this programming. And it is. I mean, that's why like the content that we're making right now, Elijah, it's not programming. Critical thinking is what this is. And this is one of the battles that I have with this type of content is we're going to be fought.
People don't like common sense thinking.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of the show, getting a grip on things. We're getting a grip on the reality and common sense of everything.
I love it. Dude, where can we find the show? How do we
Like
watch
I said
this?
earlier, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. We also will be uploading regularly to YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. We might make a Twitter and we might make a TikTok. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Thanks.
What does that have to do with these kids, dude, that don't want to pay their share?
Auschwitz.
I have